there was a clip floating around social media where he said the most racism that he experienced was from Black people regarding his granddaughter, Chole, who is mixed. Now, I was like, the most racism you experienced was from Black people regarding your Black granddaughter? I find that hard to believe, but at least I want to watch it in the full context before I drag Kandi by her strained vocal cords and drag Todd Chrisley by his pink thong, because you know he wear a pink thong, allegedly. Anyway, you guys, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and let's go ahead and get into this. This is probably going to be a heated conversation, but one that needs to be had, right? Go ahead and get into the video. So I do know that they start out talking about his son and then him having custody of his granddaughter. So let's go ahead and get into that.
I have to ask, when we speak about race, your son, Kyle, yes, your son, Kyle, Chloe's dad.
Yes.
Birth father, because you raised. Right. How did you feel when Kyle was dating Black? I guess he was dating a Black woman when
he dated multiple Black women, but I don't think we ever thought about it, period.
It wasn't a thing.
It just wasn't.
It wasn't a problem ever.
No, we didn't have that. That was not a, now granted, some of the ones he dated, it wasn't the color that I had an issue with.
Right.
It was the fact they was shaking their ass on a stage, or that, you know, they was at Magic City hanging out, and making it rain, and what do they call it, popping bottles and all that shit. That's not what I wanted for my son. But the color was never an issue. We never thought about that. He didn't, we didn't. I didn't really think about the color until Chloe was born.
Why?
Because that's when I truly learned what racism was.
What do you mean?
Because of the way we were attacked. Because remember, we were on television at this time. And we were attacked on Facebook. Facebook was the worst enemy in the world when it came to her.
That is so crazy to me.
But this may shock you, or it may not. The bulk of the hate came from the Black community.
That is so weird. You know, and it's always a thing where, you know, you have self-hate sometimes. You know what I mean? But it's just crazy. Like, there are trolls on social media that go too hard.
I don't know about that self-hate comment and what they had to do with anything about his granddaughter. I will say this. I think Black people have concern. You see this Black girl in this all-white family, and you don't see no color people around. You do have questions like, how is she being raised? We've heard the stories about how biracial mixed kids always have an identity crisis. They always are like, oh my God, I was raised around my white family and I didn't really know Black people and blah, 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 blah. We hear these things, and these are real concerns, right? And so Black people naturally have a concern, because here's another thing. I think that if your family is racist, you need to stop having mixed babies. Like, stop trying to solve racism by having more mixed children. That is the wrong thing, because you're going to have those kids be ostracized by a certain side of the family. Because I'll tell you this, when it comes to Black people being prejudiced, even if there are mixed kids, those mixed kids are still going to be loved. You never really hear stories about how the Black family disowned the mixed kids because they were biracial, whatever, whatnot. But you hear it a lot of times with the others. So it is a concern. And I think they were more concerned, like, what they're going to be able to teach her? You know, like, what are they going to be able to do for her? Like, financially, she's going to be set. Let's not deny that. But as far as like learning her culture, learning her history, her being confident within herself, in her skin, her hair, everything, what can you teach her? All right, let's continue before I go off my Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. speech.
That's it.
You know, and it really, I don't know, it really bothered me, because I think we've had multiple conversations about the haters in the comments, because you will go in there and you will cuss them out online.
I normally will not do it.
Not to do it
unless it has to do with Chloe or one of my kids. then if it's that, yeah, I'm gonna drag you. But if you're saying I'm sucking dick in the dark, I don't give a shit what you're saying. I don't have to defend a negative when I know it's a lie. So that I don't care about.
I think people don't understand it, and I'm just gonna say, as far as like when it comes to, I don't want to say they don't understand it, but like I do see sometimes online, like say for instance, when Black people have a lot to say when a mixed race child is being raised by white families.
That's what we got.
Yeah, because they always feel like, okay, you're not going to bring them.
So again, you didn't experience racism, because in America, white people can't experience racism. There is no system that oppresses you, right? But also, secondly, what you experience may be people being prejudiced towards you. But like I said, I don't even think it was prejudice. I think it was more like concern because of the girl's well-being, and how she's going to be affected mentally.
Around their culture, they're not going to know anything about their culture. And the automatic thought is, when people look at her as she's growing up, they're going to see a young Black woman.
That's right.
And people don't understand.
How can we teach her to be a young Black woman?
Exactly.
Well, let me answer that. First of all, you and I have been friends since 2014. When we were blessed with her, her nanny, I'd never had a nanny in my life with any of my children, but we were filming. We didn't raise our kids on television until they were older.
Yeah.
But she's a baby. And yourself in television and in film in general, it is a law. It is mandated that a minor child has someone on set with them. When they sent me applications for nannies, all the nannies were white. Yes. And I said, and Raja.
Yes.
Okay. Raja was on our show from first season.
Producer, yeah.
Yes, a producer. And Marcus. And I said, I need a Black nanny. I need a Black woman with her. She gets enough white. Her daddy's side's covered. But I got to make sure that she knows that she's part Black. So we ended up with a nanny, Andrea, who was wonderful and was with Chloe until Chloe didn't need a nanny anymore. But I also placed Chloe, when she got older, with a child psychologist that taught her about her feelings, about, you look different than the rest of the people in your family. This is because your mother is African American or Black. And
did you have to use a Black therapist? Or
I did use a Black therapist, only because I felt like that it would.
Good job. I think what he's saying now, okay, I'm glad that this is why you should watch the whole thing in context and not just go by the little clip, because that little clip, it did have me frustrated and pissed me off, but that's how social media is. However, I'm liking the way the conversation is going now.
Resonate more. She had enough white people telling her what to do
and what to do.
Right. She needed to have another perspective. So when Andrea would take her to the library every week, she had to do a report every week on a African American successful female. And that's when I got involved with Octavia Spencer.
Oh, okay.
Because Octavia had just finished her
I love her too.
Yes. And she had just finished that movie, CJ Walker.
Okay, Madam CJ. Yeah.
And that became mine and Chloe's favorite movie, because Chloe would get up in the bed with me and I would say, let's watch. I said, let me show you what you can do when you get big. And she fell in love with Octavia, but she fell in love with Madam CJ Walker, because that's who Octavia was. And I said, do you see that you can do any of this? It doesn't matter your color, but even with a woman who was limited because of her color, she was the first Black female millionaire in the country. Chloe knows that whole story. Chloe knows Harriet Tubman. She knows all of the famous Black women that have suffered before her. But that's because we put forth that effort to make sure that she was protected and that her culture was protected.
And as she knows her history.
It's hard because we are white. We live in a community to where it is largely white. And so when I go to put her in a private school, it's largely white. And
that's where the concern comes into play, because it's all like, is she around Black people? Now, from what I understand, and this is where there's some pushback with AT too, because I'm going to say this. Okay, so the only time that she had Black people around was with the nanny, because mind you, the girl, I don't know if they talk about it in this interview, but the girl is not with her mom. So she's not seeing the black side of her family. The only people that she know is the Chrisleys, all the white people, right? So the only time she was around black people was with the nanny. Like, other than that, it doesn't seem like she's been around. Oh, and the therapist is black, right? But that's the only time she socializes.
And we had an incident where she came home crying one day, and it was because she could not be a mermaid. The girls told her she could not be a mermaid because she didn't have long blonde hair. And I remember her sitting at the kitchen island in my lap, and I remember watching her tear hit the countertop. And it broke my heart. And she said, but I don't know why God made me like this.
Oh.
And that's when the therapy started. Chole is surrounded by, I took her out of that school. I remember going over to the school and Julie begging me not to go.
So you raised hell.
I did. I went over there and I said, I wouldn't get this fucking upset for everything you could teach my daughter. I said, from now until the end of time. I said, because she doesn't need to be taught about hypocrisy. I said, the world's full of that.
Yeah.
I snatched her out. I placed her in a public school right in Belmead, which is, might as well say, the same as a private school. But they did have diversity.
So, okay. So publicly, you guys had a little back and forth with her mom at some point. It was a while back.
Well, that was about money. She was just looking for money. She was looking for, for her 5 minutes. A lot of people don't know the story of how we got Chole.
Yeah, they don't.
Chole was born. We did not know that that Kyle had a child. We didn't find out until after the fact. And then the request for money started.
Okay.
And Chloe's biological mother actually called us on a Friday evening at 11 o'clock at night and told us we needed to come and pick her up because she was homeless and was living in her car. And so we met her in Commerce, Georgia, in a McDonald's parking lot. Chole was starving to death. She had 3rd-degree burns on her bottom from sitting in diapers that were dirty. And this is all documented in her medical records. And we brought her home. We got her to our pediatrician. We started what needed to be done to get her medically well and healthy. And at that point, her mother said to me, your son promised that he was going to help take care of her. He has not done anything. So you can either take her or I'm going to put her up for adoption. And I said, I want a DNA. We had a DNA test done. It came back like 97%. But I knew she was mine the moment I held her the first time because she was screaming at the top of her lungs. And when I picked her up out of that carrier, she nuzzled into my neck and she stopped crying.
Real quick, this is interesting because I never really knew the full story. I remember that the baby mama had came out and, was saying like they stole her basically and all this stuff, but I never really dived into it. So it makes me want to look at her side of the story. But from what he's saying, okay, this is making sense how they got custody of him. And I know the son, he wasn't shit and he wasn't going to take care of the baby. So granted, she needed a home, right? So yeah, I commend him for that. But again, like I said, to be fair, I'll look at her story after this video.
I knew God gave me that sense that she was mine. So I knew before the test came back. But when she came back, the mother made a request that she would give us custody of Chole if we would buy her a car. I said, okay, you go through my attorneys. And it all went through the attorneys. And she went, picked out her car. We gave her a car. And then after about a year,
you traded your daughter in for a car? Oh, the mama was a crackhead.
She had gone through that and she needed more money. So
she's come back to try to get custody, right?
No, she's never tried to get custody.
Oh, she did?
She's never tried to get custody. She tried to run a scam with, what is the thing where people raise money online? What's that called?
The GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. She made up a lie and said that she was trying to get money to go after custody of Chole. But how can you go after custody when you've already terminated your rights? Your rights have already been terminated. She's already been legally adopted. You can't go back out here and take a child that you've already given away.
Gotcha.
And so I ended up buying a condo in Anderson, South Carolina, $185,000. And I gave her the ability, and all this is in a contract. She was allowed to live there until Chole became of age of 18, because that money belongs to Chole, because Chole shares in equal portions of what I have. Savannah won't get more than Chloe. Grayson won't get more than Chloe. Chase won't get more than Chloe. I took that money, bought that condo. She moved in it. And I said, the only thing that I expect of you is you're going to pay the HOA dues, $225 a month. And I want you in school at Tri-County Tech because you've already scammed me out of 3 times of tuition saying you were going to nursing school. I want you getting an education so that Chloe can be proud of what she comes from. She lied and said she was going to do that. We didn't find out until 6 months later she had never paid the first HOA dues. So the trust had to step in and do that because they were putting a lien against the condo. Right. So we had to step in, pay that. I then gave her a second chance because, again, I did not want Chloe at 18 years old saying my mother was homeless and you wouldn't help.
You wouldn't help, right.
So I didn't want her to be able to throw that back on me. We went another round with it. She paid once or twice and then she let it get behind again. So then I said, the trust said, you got to go. Basically. We're not doing this. So she had destroyed the condo and we had to go in and spend about $40,000 having it redone in order to be able to get it back on the market. But it was set up to where if Chloe wanted her to have that condo when Chloe became of legal age, Chloe could say, Mom, you can live there. So
does she ever get to see Chloe, communicate or nothing?
No, there is no relationship.
None.
This woman has gone on and had 2 other children by two other men, all white men, and tried to get us to adopt her second child. And use the excuse that it's Chloe's half brother.
But she must not think y'all.
Wow. Yeah, she got a fetish for white men, and especially ones that can't take care of their own kids. But anyway, you guys, like I said, I wanted to watch that clip in full context. Still didn't like a couple of things that he said, but at least I was able to get the whole story and the whole spectrum about it. And it makes a lot more sense. Again, let me know what you guys think about the whole conversation between Kandi and Todd Chrisley. I know a lot of people like the Chrisleys. They happy that they got out of jail. You know, mind you, a pardon came from the president. But it is what it is, right? But anyway, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you like more of these type of videos. Deuces, everybody.